Today we're gonna have a speaker from Gambia, Mr. Ebrima Jarra. I hope I said that correctly, sir. Mr. Jarra is a microbiologist by education. He's also someone who is widely knowledgeable in agricultural science by education too. He's also a winner of Gambia National STEM Teachers Coordinator in 2017. It's a pretty long CV. I'll just stop there. Um, I hope you're ready, sir, to teach and maybe share with us how exactly we can be able to implement the 17 goals in order to make Africa and the Middle East better.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Leroy. I'm very indeed pleased to be here talking to fellow Africans and also fellow young people around the world. It is indeed a challenge already to put a decade of action into a single talk, but I will do my best in order to put what is more important about the SDGs to all of us here, so we could stand a chance to make sure that we play our part in achieving the SDGs, that is the 17 development goals. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. It is an honor for you to be amongst us. And just as a reminder to everybody, please try as much as possible to keep your microphones muted so that we can be able to hear, so that all of us can be able to hear what Mr. Jarra is going to be teaching us. And yeah, with that being said, I'd like to leave the platform to Mr. Jarra. Please do go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you so much again for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my experience with the SDGs and also my experience along the journey of achieving sustainable development and also delivering a sustainable world. Indeed, it has been a very tough journey working across the achievement of these various objectives, but I can say I'm giving thanks to the Almighty today that at least I've been able to achieve a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that I always want to share with young people across the world. The 17 development goals are UN Sustainable Development Goals that have been achieved, that have been agreed by the United Nations in a summit that was happening in 2015 at New York. So, what are these 17 development goals? These 17 development goals are here to help us achieve three key things. And these key things are the people, they are here for the people, they are here for the planet, and they are here for prosperity. When I talk about these three things, some people might not understand, but in my presentation, I'll bring the details of what I mean by these three people, that is helping the people, helping the planet, and also helping us to, all of us, the world, to be prosperous. I'll bring these details to each and everyone here to understand what I mean by these three things that are the main purpose of the SDGs that the leaders have agreed on. Because these leaders come together and what they saw is they saw hunger, they saw war, they saw a lot of threats to peace and security around their world. So, you know, in their own communities. And they think it is very, very important for them to deliver a sustainable world. They have to make an agreement that everybody is going to be a stakeholder. Everybody is going to be a key holder, a partner in this. And that is what today we are talking about. That is the Sustainable Development Goals. So quickly, I will want to share some of the presentations that I've prepared for this event with all of you. So I think if you could give me a chance to share my presentation, that will be very nice. Hello, Leroy.
Are
Yes,
you
yes,
ready?
Yes, I
yes, you
want to
can.
see us. Okay, good. I'm there now.
All right, you got
So
it?
yes, I'm here.
All right, that's wonderful. Well, Mr. Jarra is still setting up. I'd just like to welcome guys that are still joining us. Please, if you're on Facebook, follow Guardians of Afro-Arab Leadership and share the link on Facebook so that others can also be able to follow the event as we go along and even other events as they come up after this one.
I hope you can see my slides.
Yes,
Is it
we can
visible to
see
all of you?
your screen now. We can see your screen, but you haven't
Okay.
opened your slide yet.
Okay. Can you see that?
The slide hasn't come up yet. We can see your screen though.
Mm. Are you there? Can you see my
Yes,
presentation, my
we're still
slides?
here. Yes, we're
Can you
still
see my
waiting. No,
slides
we
now?
cannot. No, the slide is not opened yet.
Wow. But it is on my screen. It is saying that you are screen sharing. So I don't know if there is anything that
Yes,
you need
we
to
can
do.
see your screen. Like we can see your screen. We can see that you have opened a window where you have 4 documents, right?
Yes, I've opened the slides too, so it should be on the.
So maybe if you close that window, we can see the slide.
Okay. Am I there?
Yes, you're still here, but you've not been able to open your presentation yet.
Mr. Jarra,
Yes.
can you send me the presentation and I might share it from my screen?
Yes, that would be a good idea. Yeah.
On email or should I do that on email or?
On
It's possible to send
whatever,
it via WhatsApp, right?
yeah, on WhatsApp or the email, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Is that Nora? Let me do it on WhatsApp. I have Nora's WhatsApp.
Right.
Sorry. Okay. So I just have this Apple so not long ago, and sometimes it's very complicated to use the Apple devices. So that is the issue here.
It's
So
very understandable.
yes,
It's
absolutely,
okay.
absolutely, yeah. Okay, that's it on WhatsApp. I send it to Nura on WhatsApp. Nura, can you see
That's
that?
the
I send you a message on WhatsApp, Mr. Ebrima, so you can send it to
Okay.
me.
Okay. Oh, good, good. I've seen that. Let me send it shortly. Okay, that's done.
Okay, well received.
Okay. So please, you can go ahead to share that.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
yes, yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, so you can just say next and I will go next.
Yes.
Here we go.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Heba.
Thank you so much, my
Thank you.
dear sister.
You're welcome.
It is indeed not a problem at all when someone have you as a sister. Thank you so much. So you can just see a short compilation of that. I said the global goals, SDG training and presentation. That is 17 development goals. That is compiled by me based on my various engagements with some other SDG ambassadors around the world. So I was able to bring together some few informations that I want to share with all of you. So here is the presentation outline. I want to have an introduction that is going to be very quick, transforming our world, because our world today needs our actions in order to be moved to another level. And then our world today, what are the world that we are living in today? Because we have seen all the tantalization that we are in today. So we have to understand the world that we are living in today, and then the global goals that are the 17 development goals. What are they? Facts and figures of the SDGs. How long have we achieved them, and how long do we have to go still? Their means of implementation, and why did this SDG matters, and then the conclusion. I think someone need to mute his. Wow.
Hello, guys. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, I think someone need to mute his device,
Yeah.
or her device.
Please, guys, don't forget to mute your microphones.
Thank you. So you can go next, my sister. Next. Good.
Just take me.
Let me
الذي
have
على
this.
المايك لو سمحت علق.
Okay. So let us
go ahead,
look
Mr.
at
Jarra.
this. Let's look at this short introduction about the SDGs. It says in the year 2015, leaders from around the world, that is leaders from 193 countries of the world, came together to face the future that we are heading to. Where are we heading to? And what they saw was daunting famines, droughts, war, plagues, poverty, not just in some faraway places, but in their own cities, in their own towns. Because these are leaders that come from our own communities, and they come together in one gathering, and then what they saw in their various communities is what they brought to this gathering. That was at New York in the year 2015 when they developed these global goals. They knew very well that we have not done enough. There is enough food in the various parts of the world, but how do we distribute these foods so that the food can reach the people that need it most? Sometimes we realize that in our own homes, in our own communities, we have a lot of food to eat a day. We eat food and then we keep it in our refrigerators. We eat food and then give it to, or keep it for some time while some people are out there starving. So this food needs to be distributed. We need to make sure that we are able to share these foods to the people that need the food. So basically, this is what leaders have, various leaders of the various countries have seen, and this is what they have brought to their tables at the summit in New York. They have seen that there is also a lot of diseases around the world. There are also vaccines, but how do we get these vaccines around the world? So these are the purpose of the global goals, and then that is what they develop, and then they call it the Sustainable Development Goals. That is the future that we want to head to. How can we make this future sustainable to everyone? How can we make this future accessible for everyone? Next. So in transforming our world, the 2030 agenda for the sustainable development world is an enthusiastic agenda, which is based on 3 P's, namely, I said before, the transforming our world is based on 3 P's. These are the 3 P's that I have bullet point here. One is the people, one is the planet, and then prosperity. So these are the 3 P's that the sustainable development goals are being centered on. Next. So we start with the people. The agenda is determined to end poverty and hunger in all its forms and dimensions, and to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potentials in dignity and equality and in healthy environment. So this is basically for the people. And then in this short write-up, we can see that there are a lot of SDGs that are being put into this. Remember, I just want to give a short description about the SDGs according to the 3 categories that they are being categorized. They are into prioritizing goals, they are into cross-cutting goals, and then they are into enabling goals. So these are the 3 categories that the SDGs, the 17 development goals, are being categorized. We have the prioritized ones, we have the enabling ones, and then we have the cross-cutting ones. So in this short write-up, you can realize that there are a lot of SDGs that we can achieve only by making this achievable. Next. 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 Good. So the next P, the second P is the planet. The agenda also determined to protect the planet from degradation,
Do I have to
including,
play the video?
pardon? Yes, we will come to the video. I think I want to present the 3 Ps before we have the video. So let me present the 3 Ps, then we can have the video.
Is this the right slide?
Planet. The second P is planet. That is where we should be.
Okay.
Just scroll back. Okay, good. So the agenda also determined to protect our planet, because we all know that this is not the planet that we are living today. Today, when I go to my hometown, the place where I was born in the Gambia, I feel a lot of hotness and then a lot of high temperature and then climate around the area. And I can remember in the early days when I was a young boy, when I was a small child in that community, we have a lot of coal, we have a lot of thick forests, and then I used to see varieties of wild animals in that forest. But today, all those things disappeared because of why? Because of the increase in population, because of the deforestation, because of the degradations, and because of other climate change activities. So therefore, leaders knows that it is important for us, in order to live a sustainable world, it is very important for us to live in a comfortable environment. And then the planet is one of the key things that can give us comfort in our livings. So therefore, that is why these 17 development goals also have a lot to do with the planet. So we go to the last P, that is the prosperity. Good. The agenda, the third P, that is the 3 P, is prosperity. The agenda is finally determined to ensure that all human beings can enjoy prosperity and fulfilling lives, that economic, social, and technological process occurs in harmony with nature. So this prosperity is also been grouped into 2 categories, that is peace and then partnership. The agenda is determined to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies, which are free from fear and then violence. There can be no sustainable development without peace, and no peace without sustainable development. So you can see how these P's are interconnected. Okay, the interconnectivity of the 3 P's. You know, peace is an enabling factor. It is an enabler whereby in order to achieve anything in society, you must have peace. And then this peace comes in different, there are a lot of things that this peace is very fragile, as I used to say in most of my conversation. I say peace is very fragile, but it is also a key developer. It is a key driver to development. Without peace, we cannot achieve anything in this world. So therefore, that is why prosperity have to do with P. And then the second thing is partnership. That is all of us coming together to to help each other. All of us coming together to serve as each brothers and then each sisters keepers. So we have to come in different societies. We have to be well integrated around the world, because today, whatever is happening here in the Gambia affects people in Egypt. And then whatever is happening in Egypt affects people in Nairobi, and whatever is happening in Nairobi affects people in China, and whatever is happening in China affects people around the USA. So the world is interconnected. The world today is a global village. Whatever happens there affects people here. Whatever happens here affects people there. So therefore, we need a global strategy. We need a global plan in order to make sure that it is implemented locally. So it's a matter of coming together to share ideas, to share knowledge, to think, so that that will enable us to think globally and then act locally in order to solve global problems. Next. So I will just want to introduce this video, which is about the Sustainable Development Goals. So you can play the video. I hope you all enjoy it anyway. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Just hold on, okay?
Okay.
There is something, it doesn't play. I'm so sorry.
The video doesn't play?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can, if I can play it from here.
I guess if we have problems with playing the video, you can send
Mhm.
it to us and we send it to the participants later.
So what if I send you the video directly? Can you be able to play it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so shortly I will do that.
How big is the video file?
The video is about 4 minutes.
Okay, no, but like in megabytes.
Okay.
Because I would suggest what we
We are
could do
so
is
sorry, guys.
while you try to play the video, you can
Mm.
go ahead with the rest of the presentation because of time.
Okay. So, hello, Heba, do you receive the video? Okay, so you can go ahead with the next slides. So before the video comes, so anytime it comes, you can try to play it for,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes. So you can go to the next slides. Wow. Okay, so we look at transforming our world. That is the world that we want to live in tomorrow. It is also seeks transforming our world. The SDGs has also come to seek the strengthening of universal peace in larger freedoms. We should recognize that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty. When we say extreme poverty here in this regard, we mean in societies where people live in less than $1 per day. That is extreme poverty. And this is a situation that is happening in my communities here in the Gambia, in most of the communities here in the Gambia. And I can say without really being very wrong that it is happening in most countries around Africa and also around the Middle East and then the world at large. So we have to come together to eradicate this kind of poverty, that is extreme poverty. And in order to eradicate this, it needs a global action. We have to all come together as an indispensable body in order to achieve this goal. All countries and stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership with implementing this plan, we should be resolved to free the human race from tyranny of poverty and want to heal and secure our planet. We are determined to take the bold and transformative steps which are urgently needed to shift the world to a sustainable and resilient path. As we embark on this collective journey, we pledge that no one will be left behind. So this is a short slogan for the Sustainable Development Goal. The short slogan for the Sustainable Development Goal is to leave no one behind. It is to make sure that everybody is included in the action. Everybody is included in achieving these Sustainable Development Goals. As I said before, it can never be achieved by our governments only. It can never be achieved by our civil societies only. It needs, the partnership of all of us, both government and the civil society organizations, youth organizations, and everybody's action is very important in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And that is how we can transform our world. Next.
I got the video now. So
Okay.
can I play it?
Yes, please. So guys, let's have a look at the video.
The United Nations is an organization with goals.
Will you be able to hear it?
We're hearing it, but we cannot see. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Just hold on. Okay.
The United Nations is an organization with goals of peace and sustainable development.
No.
Can you hear it?
Hello, Eba.
Yeah, we still
we
cannot
can
see
hear
it.
But we cannot see it.
17 sustainable development goals. Let's get to them because the more you know. Look.
Can you see it now?
Good, yes. So please, can you take it
Okay.
back a bit so people can have a
Yeah, sure.
deep look? Mm-hmm.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
Their mission is huge, but we're breaking it down in 2 minutes. 17 sustainable development goals. Let's get to them because the more you know. Look, in some corners of the world today, people are living on $1 a day. Hey, that's not how it ought to be. So go 1, eliminate poverty, and go 2, root out hunger across the globe. There's 800 million people hungry if you want to know. Number 3 is health and well-being, and getting people the health care that they need in. Learning in school are the hard to go for. Education opens up minds and doors. Goal number 5 is empower girls and women so they can have the same rights that men are given. Number 6, people need water that's clean. Poor sanitation can spread disease. Carbon-free energy is goal number 7. And how to achieve it is the question that's pressing. But if we put our minds together and work hard, we'll find a solution, I'm guessing. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. Now imagine that you work all day for no pay. Economic growth and decent workers go 8. Goal number 9 is to foster innovation and infrastructure and industrialization. Goal number 10, inequality reduction. 11 is sustainable city construction. 12, well, that's sustainable consumption, so what we use matches up with production. Goal 13 calls for urgent action to combat climate change, because we know it's happening. 14, protect life under seas. 15, protect life on land. Goal 16 is for peace and justice. All over the planet, they're in high demand. And the final goal, number 17, is the critical factor, the heart of the machine. It's the strength in the way we achieve these goals of sustainable development around the globe. Yo, 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bet we make, we gon' Alliance, 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it.
So I think that is okay, my sister. Thank you so much for that wonderful video. I hope we got inspired by the video. And then in the video, we could understand that the 17 development goals is all about improving life in all around the world. That is the main purpose of the 17 development goals. And of course, I will be very happy to share the video and also all the slides with all of you to have a relook and also a rewatch of what has been happening here on this platform. Once again, thank you all for coming to the platform, and then thank you all for listening to this conversation and then following the guidance of Afro-Arab Leadership Initiative. Thank you so much. So you can go to the slides and then we continue our presentation. on transforming our world. Hello, Sister Heba.
Yes, Mr. Ebrima.
I said you can go back to the slides so we can continue our presentation.
Can you see it?
Not yet. We are only seeing the video.
Can you see it now?
We are seeing the video. So you need to remove that. Good.
Oh.
We can see it now. Yes. Oh, it's gone.
Okay. Now, is it clear?
Not yet. Okay, good. Yes, we can see it now.
Okay.
So you can go to the next slides. This one is already been explained. Next slides, please. Good. So we are looking at our world today. So the world that we are in today, we are living at a time of immense challenge of sustainable development. Sorry, I have. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So I was saying the world that we are living in today, we are living at a time of immense challenge to sustainable development. Millions of our citizens continue to live in poverty and are denied a life to dignity. There are rising inequalities within and among countries. These are enormous disparities of opportunities, wealth, and power. Gender inequality remains a key challenge. Unemployment, particularly young people, is a major concern. Global health threats are more frequent and intense. Natural disasters, spiraling conflict, violent extremism, terrorism, and related humanitarian crises are forced displacement of people, threatening to reverse much of our development progress made in recent decades. Natural resources depletion and diverse impacts of environmental degradations, including desertification, drought, and land degradation, freshwater scarcity, and loss of biodiversity, add to and the list of challenges which humanity faces. Climate change is one of the greatest challenges to our time, and its diverse impacts undermine the ability of all countries to achieve sustainable development. Increase in global temperature, sea level rise, ozone acidification, and other climate challenges impacts are seriously affecting coastal areas and low-lying coastal countries, including many least developed countries and small island developing states. The survival of many societies and other biological support systems of the planet is at risk. So this is the world that we are living in today. We are living at a world where climate change is absolutely rising. We are living at a world where poverty is tantalizing in our own communities. We are living in a world whereby inequalities is rising. We are living at a world where the spread of coronavirus and other diseases are really threatening lives around the world. And then we are living in a world where food and poverty is really at the increase. And then we all have to come together as people to fight against these happenings. Next slide. So, however, it is not all been lost, my people. It is not all lost. We still have an opportunity. Significant progress has been made in meeting many development challenges. Within the past generation, hundreds of millions of people have emerged from extreme poverty. Access to education has greatly increased for both boys and girls. The spread of information, communication, technology, and global interconnectedness has great potentials to accelerate human progress, to bridge the digital divide, and to develop knowledge societies and those scientific and technological innovation across areas as diverse as medicine and then energy. So it is not all been lost. We still have opportunity. We still have, the capacity and then the potential to change our world. So we can move to the next slides. So we move to the next slide, that is the new agenda. And what is this new agenda? How much are they? And how many years are they here for? So, good. So I want to remind us about the Millennium Development Goals, which were 8 in number. And then they were here for a period of 15 years, from year 2000 to 2015. We have the Sustainable Development Goals, that is the global goals. And then we want to understand the new agenda and what are the new agenda, how much are they, and so on. So I believe that everybody participating in this platform has once heard about this, this new agenda, or has watched it on TV, or has seen it on a postcard or a newspaper, or from a friend, or even have been, acting on the new agenda. So I just want to throw a few questions that are these 3 questions to the audience. Anybody can participate in saying what he thinks about the new agenda. And also in my past presentation, I've been talking about something related to the new agenda, and then the number, and also the number of years that the new agenda is here for. So could you raise your hands if you want to participate in this? I see Nurba has want to answer to this new agenda. So could you give him a chance or her a chance?
Okay, so the new UN agenda are 17, which are called the goals, the world's goals, and the UN has voted to achieve it until they put it in 2015. And the plan was to achieve it until 2030. And this goals, it has many goals to achieve it. For example, to end poverty, the equality. They make before 2050. It was, I think, 7 goals, which they were not completed. So in 2015, they make it a 17 goal. So they are completed, and they will make a better life for this world. And the plan was for the countries that are participated in the UN, so that they can achieve it until 2030. That's what I know about it.
Thank you so much. Of course, you have understand the new agenda, and thank you so much for participating and answering these wonderful questions. So we have, who next? Do you have any hand up? So I don't see any other hand up. So then we could continue to the next slides to look at the new agenda. So this new agenda is the 2030 global goals, as our able sister have just enlightened them to us. There are 17 in number, and then they are here from 2015 to 2030. And then now we are in the last 10 years of the global goals. And that is why I call it as a decade of action. This is the time that we have to really strive our level best in achieving these sustainable development goals, or the global goals. So it is a decade that is full of action, and we call it, a decade of action. I hope all of us will be key players in achieving these 17 development goals, which are divided into 69 targets and also into 230 indicators. So we will be looking into that more, but I want us to go to the next slides. Next. Next slide, please.
Sorry, guys. Misconnection. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Can you see the screen now? Okay,
Good.
so we are
Yes.
there.
Next slide, yes. Good. So there we go. There are 17 sustainable development goals with 169 associated targets and 230 indicators, which are integrated and indivisible. So in these goals, in these 17 development goals, we cannot focus on one goal to achieve that as a nation or as a world or as a community without looking at the other. We have to focus on all of them, okay? Because that is why it says they are integrated and they are indivisible. You cannot separate them from one another. We all have to act in order of achieving this. And then in the future, I want to show how one could understand that you are achieving these 17 development goals by only acting on one as a main goal that you want to achieve. Never before have the world leaders pledged common action and endeavor across such a broad and universal policy agenda. We are setting out together on this path towards sustainable development, devoting ourselves collectively to the pursuit of the global development and of win-win cooperation, and to bring huge gains to all countries and all parts of the world. So this gives a difference between the Millennium Development Goals and then the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, if you look at this statement, ranging from we are setting out together on the path towards sustainable development, devoting ourselves collectively to pursue of global development and of win-win cooperation, which can bring huge gains to all countries and all parts of the world. So that is definitely the main difference between the Sustainable Development Goals and the Millennium Development Goals. What are the difference? How does it become a difference? The Millennium Development Goals were here only for poor and the developing countries. The Millennium Development Goals were here only to focus on the poor and then on the developing countries. The developed countries were totally out of the Millennium Development Goals. Okay, so and then the Millennium Development Goals doesn't include the civil society as the global goals does. Okay, I can say for the global goals, all countries around the world, whether developed or underdeveloping, whether poor or rich, whether middle class or first class or third class, all and everybody is included in this Millennium Development, in these Sustainable Development Goals. And that is what makes the difference between the Millennium Development Goals and then the Sustainable Development Goals. We reaffirm that every state has and shall freely exercise full permanent sovereignty over all its wealth, natural resources, economic activity. Leaders have realized that in the past, there were a lot of wrong things happening, whereby a country will give orders to another country, whereby a country will design a budget for another country, whereby a country will, conceive a constitution for another country. But these are all things that leaders have now come to realize that if we want to achieve these sustainable development goals, we have to put all those things aside and then allow everybody to work as a sovereignty body, to allow every country to work as a sovereignty body in order to achieve the agenda that is best for them. Because countries or societies have their problems different from one another. Okay, I can say the problems that are happening in the Gambia here might be similar problems to the problems happening in a city in New York, but they need a different approach in order to solve this problem. So therefore, I have to be given the authority. Gambia have to be given its sovereign right and then its sovereignty in order to perform the approaches that are required to solve the problems that are happening here at our local level. But there is nothing wrong when I'm trying to study what has happened in the US and then try to implement it here. And then there is nothing wrong for me to try to study what somebody is doing in Egypt and then try to implement it in the Gambia. So this is why I said thinking global and then acting local. So the Sustainable Development Goals are basically here for all of us to act on them. We will implement the agenda for the full benefit of all for today's generation and future's generation. So we can see that the Sustainable Development Goals are not here only for us, the present generation, but they are here for our children, they are here for our grandchildren, and then they are here for our brothers and then our sisters or the generations that are coming after us. So in doing so, we reaffirm our commitment to international law and emphasize that the agenda is to be implemented in a manner that is consistent with the rights and obligations of states under international law. So when we say we have to act locally, it doesn't mean that we have to ignore the international laws. When we say each country is given its sovereignty to implement its own development or its own sustainable development, it doesn't mean that that country is out of the sustainable development or is out of international law. We are all under the international law, that is the UN law that all of us have come together, or all of us in one way, our leaders have come together to agree on some certain policies or on some certain international laws that are going to be guiding us as a world. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, good. So I wanted to I wanted to use this as you know, an exercise model, but of course it is very unfortunate that my screen is not able to see it. I have designed it in a way whereby the logo will appear and then the goal number will not appear. So people can start to scratch and then think about what this logo is representing, because each of these 17 development goals has a specific logo, and then this logo has a picture, an image that it is representing. So we all have to understand these logos, and then from understanding the logo and then the goal, how they are interrelated or how they are interconnected. But nonetheless, it's all the same. So we will go through the 17 development goals one after the other. However, I don't arrange them in a systematical or in ascending order, but I've mixed them together so that we can understand really how the sustainable development goals are interconnected. It doesn't mean that we have to start achieving them from 1, from 2, from 3, from 4, up to 17. No, we can start acting on each of them at your own expertise or at your own disposal. So we start with goal number 1. That is the goal number 1 is to end poverty in all its forms, in everywhere. So we can see the goal, the logo, where we have people and then sharing hands together. So this is how we definitely can end poverty. There are people in the world that are, you know, millionaires. There are people in the world that are billionaires, and also there are people in the world that are living on less than $1 per day. So how can we make sure that everybody is living at a sustainable life, or everybody is living a sustainable life? People with lot of resources, people have accumulated a lot of resources in the world, a lot of wealth in the world, have to share their wealth with the people that have less, or the unfortunate people, or the most vulnerable people in the world, so that there will be a fair distribution of wealth in the society, and that way we can end poverty in all its forms and in every society. So we can go to the next. So this one is goal number 6, and goal number 6 is clean water and sanitation. So This is also very important, and I will take the example from, from the Gambia. I traveled to various parts of the country, of the Gambia rather. When I mean the country, I mean the Gambia. And also, yes, I'm fortunate to travel to some various countries in Africa and also in the Asia. And then I've been to various communities in the rural and then in the urban. But I find out that there are still these problems persisting around the globe. When I travel to the remote part of the Gambia, I see communities that are drinking water as red as my, red color. The water is very, very red. So this is not a fair justice. I think everybody need to be able to access clean and then healthy water to live a sustainable life. So this is the logo for goal number 6, that is the clean water and sanitation. So what does this goal says? It says to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Everybody have to benefit from this sanitized water. Everybody have to benefit from this clean and then healthy water. So governments or civil society organizations, we have to take responsibility, okay? We all have to take responsibility in order to make sure that they heard our voice. Our voice are being heard by the responsible authorities in order to provide. As far as ballot boxes can reach the various parts, let me tell you one thing about the Gambia that I always, say. I says when it comes to election, ballot boxes are reaching the smallest and the most remote village in the Gambia. So why is it that basic social amenities and then basic human rights cannot reach those societies or those communities in the rural part of the Gambia? If ballot boxes can go there to collect their votes for the politicians, why is it that those people in the remote part of the country cannot access basic human rights or basic social amenities? So it is a responsibility that everybody in the world have to access clean and then sanitized water for his living. So we have the logo there, and this logo is representing, clean and then sanitized water. You can see it is in a form of a funnel. I don't know if you have science specialists here. They must know what is a funnel, and then it is in a form of filtration. And filtration is a type of it's a separating technique where we clean or we separate water from particles. So this is a form of a funnel and then in a form of filtration technique. So that is the logo for clean water and sanitation. That is goal number 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals or the 17 Development Goals. So we can move to the third one. I hope I'm going to the. I hope that I'm clear to everybody or everyone participating in the webinar. If I'm going too fast, you could draw my attention so I can speak much slower and much clearer if the need be. I just want to be audible and then to be clear to all the participants. I hope I'm okay.
Yes, I think I can speak on behalf of everybody. You've been clear so far. Just a reminder, we have an hour left to go, so okay, you can get yourself with that.
Thank you. So we move to the third goal. That is goal number 2. That is to end hunger. Goal number 2 says zero hunger. Like nobody should be hungry in the world. Why is it that I am throwing food in my garbage? Why is it that I'm throwing food in my dustbin while some people are there hungry, while some people are there starving? Why is it that presidents are eating a lot of food or spending a lot of money on their daily meal, on their daily rations, and then people are out there who are very, very hungry? Why is it that the rich and the wealthy people are eating a lot of good food every day? In fact, keeping a lot of good food in their refrigerator, stocking a lot of good food in their refrigerator, and then people are out there hungry. This is not fair, and then we have to end this. And this is why our leaders come together to give us this promise that they are going to end this hunger by 2030. And then everyone is a stakeholder. Everyone is an actor in this. We all have to be responsible Share the little, as little as you have. Share the little things that you have, the little food you have. You can share it with the people that are hungry. And of course, these people will be very grateful for that. And then they will not be hungry for that period that you give them that food. So we don't have to be hungry. Nobody have to be hungry in the world. We all have to be able to share our foods with the people, our leftover with the people around the world in order to end hunger. So goal number 2 is saying that end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. So this is also a goal that we don't have to joke with. This is a very big goal. This is a goal that is touching my heart. I don't want to walk around seeing people hungry. I feel very sad when I walk the street and then meet with somebody who will tell me I need $1 to buy food. I'm very hungry today. My family is at home. They don't eat for the whole of today, especially at this moment, especially during these corona lockdowns and this corona state of emergencies. Many people are hungry. Many people in our communities are hungry. Many people around us, many people in our neighborhood are hungry. And I think we all have responsibility. We all have to take this, as our responsibility in order to solve the problem of hunger in our societies, in order to eradicate hunger totally in all its forms in our various communities. So we can move to the next slides. So goal number 4 is quality education. Okay, quality education is goal number 4. Of course, I keep on repeating, and then I keep on saying it, that nobody should be left behind. And the best example is myself, speaking here on this platform. I want to give a short story of my educational career. I hail from a non-educated family. My dad attended French education at a middle level. My mother is a housewife. She doesn't go to school. And my father was not lucky to further his education until a level where he was able to get an employment. So he ended up being a farmer, and so he don't even care much about education. And I started my education as a very unfortunate child, where I don't have anybody in my community or at home to tell me that education is important. Education is this, education is that. So all I have to do is to just keep on doing what I want to achieve. I have a dream. I said I'm a poor and unknown child, and I want to be a global child tomorrow. And with this, I think education is a key that I can use in order to open all these doors to the future where I want to be. So I started my education in the provinces, in the rural Gambia. I struggle. I go to the farm in the morning because my father was a farmer. I go to the farm in the morning. From the farm, I go straight to the farm, to school. Or sometimes I come from school and then go straight to the farm to do some farming activities. So after that, I used to be very exhausted, and then I don't have time to even study my books. One thing that I'm very fortunate of, and I'm always thankful to God that, I always understand things as I'm in the class. So this is what only helps me. So I struggle within my community. I can say I'm the first child to achieve tertiary education. And in fact, I'm the first child to achieve employment by government. So I struggle within these hurdles. I finished my rural education. I finished my tertiary education in my secondary education in the rural Gambia, moved to the urban centers. That is where I began my tertiary education. I started my college education, and I can say for 3 good days I've been going to school, to college, without eating for 3 good days. I only drink, I don't eat. For 3 good days I've been living this. But I strive to go to school because that is what I'm more passionate in. So I say hunger should not stop me for not going to school. So I think that this is not fair. From that point, I know that it is not fair. Education should be something that is inclusive. If our presidents are sending their sons and daughters to universities in the United States, if our presidents and then ministers are sending their childs and then their children to top class universities in the world, why is it that I am here in the Gambia struggling to attend education? Why? Is it fair? It's not fair at all. So I think that the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals has come with a very genuine goal to say that education should be inclusive and it should be equitable, and quality education should be promoted, should be a lifelong learn. Everybody should have these lifelong learning opportunities, everybody. As of today, as I speak, I know that there are many Kirtlands in our societies that are willing to learn. They have the capacity, they have the brain, but because of accessibility, because of poverty, they are not able to attain this education that they want to. So I think goal number 4 is very important to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. In order to achieve a sustainable development or a sustainable society, our education has to be quality, our education has to be equitable, and also it has to be a lifelong learning for everybody. Next slide. So we look at goal number 3, which is ensures healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So goal number 3 basically is saying that it is promoting good health and then well-being to everybody. Of course, it is not fair. It is not fair at all. It is not fair. When somebody is sick and then cannot afford, medicine, and it is not fair when somebody is sick and then cannot attain health facilities. It is not fair. So I think the United Nations has done a fair game, a fair deal by agreeing on delivering a wealthy, a healthy world for everybody and for everyone at all ages, whether young or old. Next slide. That is goal number 5. That is gender equality. There are a lot of talks in recent days. There are a lot of talks around gender equality, but I think it's important. It's very important that women should be given the same right to participate in our parliament. Women should be given the same right to participate in our daily administrative works. Women should be given the same right to participate in our offices. Women should be given the same right to participate in our educational system and in all platforms that we think, men should participate in. So goal number 5 is here to help us to achieve gender equality in all sectors, at all levels of government and also in societies. Thank you. Next. So we have the next goal, that is goal number 8, that is to promote sustainable economic, decent work and community and economic growth. That is goal number 8, decent work and community growth. And this has been explained by saying that it is to promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. Everybody deserves to be employed. Everybody deserves to be able to earn a living. As far as you attain the qualifications, as far as you attain the requirement to be in such a position, you should be given the opportunity to contribute in your development of your country. Everybody have to be given this right. It is a basic human right to participate in your economic development. And I think, yes, all these goals are important. All of these goals are important. And goal number 8 is one of the important goals. So we can move to the next slides. Climate action is goal number 13. Goal number 13 is climate action. I said before, this is a goal that I'm very passionate about, that is climate action. I'm looking at the recent increase in global warming, recent increase in the number of floods, in natural disasters, earthquakes, and so on. I think that global action is very key. As we speak, during this past rainy season, I've seen a lot of floods in some cities in Senegal, where people are thinking of migrating to other parts of the country or other parts of the continent. So I think we all have to take a stand in order to stop the increase of, to stop the increase of the release of fossil fuels, the increase of carbon monoxides in our environment, to stop the deforestation, that is the cutting down of trees, deploy this, the degradation, and also exploiting our forests for fuel wood and other activities. We also have to be responsible for stopping our bush burning and also, also disturbing our wildlife, whereby they will all be finally disappearing. So this is a very important goal, and then I'm very passionate about this goal. It is my personal goal that I'm very, very passionate about. That is the climate action. It's very important. It is an enabler. It is an enabler to these goals. So we can move to the next slides. So this goal says, this goal is goal number 9, and goal number 9 is to innovation, infrastructure, and industries, or industries, innovation, and infrastructure. This goal is to help us build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. There are a lot of innovations around the world. When I was in Lusaka, Zambia in 2017, I've seen a lot of innovation from young people. I've seen a young person, a young girl who have designed a keyboard, a computer keyboard using banana fruits, whereby if you touch any of the banana fruits, it gives you a sound, and that keyboard can be used as a piano to play music. So it was really an amazing innovation, and I've seen also a lot of innovations from Microsoft, also from other school girls who are participating in the event. I think there is a lot of innovations within the continent. What we all have to do is to make sure that we empower and then give the enabling environment for these innovations to foster them, to contribute to our economic growth, and also to contribute to our infrastructure development and promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization in the continent. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, this is goal number 7. That is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. So goal number 7 actually is saying clean and affordable energy to all. Electricity should be supplied to all countries. It is a nitty-gritty. It is a basic human right to access power, to access electricity, and I think this is a responsibility of every government, and it is a right to everybody to advocate for the supply of electricity in your community. It's not only electricity, but we are blessed with the sunlight in the continent, that is in Africa and also in Asia. I've seen Asia too. I think if we utilize this solar energy, we could be able to have more. We could be able to have more reliable and sustainable energy in all our communities in our various societies. So goal number 7 is saying that leaders are given the pledge that they are going to supply each and everyone with clean and affordable energy. It should not only be available, but it should be affordable to all. So that is what goal number 7 is saying, and we could move to the next slide. That is no inequalities. Goal number 10 is no inequalities. Now, you all will agree with me that in our various countries, ranging from our top officials, from the president, from the cabinet ministers, from the parliamentarians, we don't have equal rights when you come to the distribution of our national resources, when you come to the distribution of our national wealth, when you come to the accessibility of our national resources. So goal number 10, leaders are pledging that they are going to make sure that this norm is going to be eradicated. They are pledging to say that this norm whereby politicians or whereby leaders, whereby government, parliamentarians and cabinet ministers access more national resources than the citizens or than the subjects will be eradicated. And that is what goal number 10 is saying. That is to stop or to no inequalities. So it says reduce inequality within and among countries. It is also important that we understand that no country in the world is better than the other. Okay, all countries in this world are equally important, and all countries in this world are having the same equal rights, and they are all being guided by the rule of law. So therefore, goal number 10 is also important, and it also helps us to open borders to one another. We should not restrict our brothers and then our sisters from Senegal who are seeking refuge to Gambia, and Senegal should also do the same. Egypt should not also close border to their neighboring countries like Algeria, like other countries, or like even people from Gambia. So we should all be able to integrate and then stop the inequalities that is within us and then within our communities. Next. So goal number 12 is to ensure sustainable consumption and production. So we want to make sure that we have food that is going to be enough for all of us. So how do we make sure that this is possible? We have to make sure that we have a system that is reliable, that is going to continue producing this enough food for all of us in our various communities. So that is what goal number 12 is saying. It is saying that to ensure sustainable consumption and then production patterns, we have to put systems in place that is going to enable us to produce, to continue producing in a sustainable manner, food that is enough for all of us, clothing that is enough for all of us, housing that is enough for all of us, shelter that is enough for all of us, and all basic human rights that is enough for all of us. So we have to start working on this system, and then everybody's voice is important in this agenda. So we move to the next slide. This is goal number 11, which is to make cities and human settlement inclusive and safe, resilient and sustainable. So goal number 11 is to build a society that is really conducive for all of us, where everybody is part of the value chain. It is to make sure that we build societies that are resilient to all kinds of human, or that are resilient to all kinds of human rights violations, to build societies that are resilient to all kinds of human rights accusation, to build societies that can really deliver the leadership that we need tomorrow. And that is why goal number 11 is important, and it says to make cities and human settlement inclusive, safe and resilient, and then sustainable. So our young people have to learn from us how to make this world a sustainable planet from our action. We all know that young people learn from us through imitation. They learn by copying from us. They learn by seeing what we do. That is what they are going to do afterwards. So if we act right, if we act ethically, this is how our future generations are going to act. If we talk transparently and then work transparently, work ethically, lead ethically, this is how our future generations are going to be. So it is our responsibility to deliver cities and human settlements inclusive and resilient and sustainable. Next slide. This is life below water. That is goal number 14. Conserve and then sustainable use of ozone, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Now we all know that we have a lot of, in fact, we have more lives in the ozones than even on land. Okay, we have more organisms living in the waters than on the land. But these organisms, right, have been, disrupted at some point because of human action, because of human activities. We are throwing a lot of plastic bags. We are throwing a lot of plastic materials. We are throwing a lot of, fossil fuels. We are throwing a lot of oils into the seas and into the ozones that are causing sea mileage. So all these things are not good for the lives of the marine resources or the marine organisms. And these organisms also need this environment in order to enable them to live and also to produce more and more. In fact, today in the Gambia, we are not enjoying enough fish because of these problems. In the Gambia, we used to produce a lot of fish. In fact, we do export fish in the past, but in the recent days, according to my studies, we are no more exporting fish because of the disturbance of this marine life. So I think this is also important. So we move to the next slide. Good. That is one of the most enabling goals. That is goal number 17. That is strengthening the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. Now, all these 17 development goals can never be achieved if we don't come together as people, if we don't come together as partners, if we don't come together as an integrated body, if we don't come together as a united nation, these goals can never be achieved. And that is why among the pledges that the leaders give in New York in 2015 was to enable a forum whereby people can come together and then participate as partners to make sure that civil societies are able to integrate with government, to make sure government are able to integrate with civil societies, with individuals based on expertise, and also with other international organizations, and also countries are able to integrate and then help each other in studying problems in order to help each other in solving problems and to study problems and also to solve these problems. So this goal is very important, and you can see the logo of the goal where you have that is a universal set, and then you have the subsets. I'm speaking mathematically. That is a mathematical language. Where you have set as a topic. We have the universal set, and then we have other subsets, and then they are all integrated. So this is how we all have to come together to unite in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So we can move to the next goal. This is goal number 16, and goal number 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. So leaders also pledge to deliver or to build a society that is peaceful, a society that is free of justice, and then a society that is that is built in a manner where you have strong institutions delivering the work expected from their people. So this goal says to promote peaceful, inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Poverty should not be an obstacle to justice. Hunger should not be an obstacle to justice. Lack of education should not be an obstacle to justice. All of us should be able to access peace and then justice in our various societies based on our basic human rights. So leaders have also given a pledge that they are going to deliver a world that is peaceful, a world that is just, a world that is also full of strong institutions delivering the work that is expected from them. So we can move to the next slide. I think that is the end of, okay, we still have one goal remain, so this is goal number 15, and goal number 15 is life on land, okay? That is also part of the United Nations Sustainable Goals. That is life on land. All of us here are living on land. All of us are building our houses and other infrastructures on this land. So we are not the only people. We are not the only living in this land, There are a lot of also organisms living on this land. There are a lot of animals living on this land. There are also a lot of organisms living under this land. So all these organisms have a right to live. And that is why leaders gave a pledge in 2015 to say that they are going to protect and restore. They are going to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainable managed forests, combat desertification, and halt the reverse of degradation and halt diversity loss. There are a lot of diversity loss today as I speak. There are a lot of forest deforestation, around the world. There are a lot of bush burnings around the world. There are a lot of, terrestrial animals losing their lives every day as we speak. And I think it is our responsibility as young people, it is our responsibility as a united front to halt the problems of these organisms living on this land. Remember, we need these organisms as they need us. These organisms that are living on this land or living in this land need us, but we also need these organisms. So we have to build a society that really can harbor all of us in a living aspect where we don't interrupt or disturb the living of the other. So I thank you all for listening to the 17 development goals. I think that was the end of the 17 development goals. And we could move to the next slide. Or if anybody have a concern regarding the 17 development goals that were presented, you could raise your hand and then you will be addressed to. If there is nothing like that, then we can move to the next slide, that is prioritizing the SDGs into their 3 categories. So, okay, I think I saw a hand by, is it Zawu?
Yes, I'm Zao Wadrian from Liberia.
Welcome, Zawu.
Thank you ever so much. With respect to the presentation, I would like to consider the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as our human body parts. Because if my memory can serve me right, I understood from you that all of the 17 development goals are very essential indeed. So based on that, our human parts are also essential. That is, if the eye is not functioning well, obviously it's going to give you a very hard thing. Also like your hand, so all of the parts on us are human, they are all very, very much essential. So to just summarize the 17 sustainable goals, that's how I try to classify it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Zau. I think that was a very important contribution. And of course, it all has to do with integration. It all has to do with partnership. And it all has to do with coming together as a united front. Remember, Mr. Jarra alone cannot achieve the 17 development goals. In fact, the president of the Gambia alone cannot achieve the 17 development goals. So it has to do with the participation of everyone. Gambia alone cannot achieve the 17 development goals, and Africa alone cannot achieve the 17 development goals. So all of us have to come together to achieve the 17 development goals. So that is why it is very important for us to be able to integrate, for us to be able to partner, and then share knowledge, share expertise, and then help each other in achieving the 17 development goals. So thank you so much for that comment, and we move next to the next slide, that is prioritizing the SDGs. So here I group the SDGs into 3 categories. The first category we have is prioritized goal. The second category is cross-cutting goals. And then the third category is enabling goals. So when I say prioritized goal, these are goals that one must act on. They must act on, okay? You must act on this goal. In order to achieve a sustainable society or a sustainable world, we must act on these goals. So these goals are goal number 8, goal number 4, goal number 3, goal number 7, goal number 9, goal number 2, and then goal number 6. So altogether, there are 7 in number. These are the prioritized goals, according to my own studies and also experience in the Sustainable Development Goals. So we also have about 4 cross-cutting goals. This, when we say cross-cutting goals, meaning in achieving this goal, in achieving any of these goals, meaning you are helping to achieve the other goals. Like example, if I'm acting on the gender equality, so I will realize that at the end of the day, I'm acting on many other goals. Like example, if I'm acting on gender equality means giving both sex, equal rights, equal accessibility, okay, equal justice, and so on. So if I'm acting on this goal, then I must say, okay, girls' child must also be given quality education as men or as boys' children. Girls' child must also be able to access decent work and economic growth as men are doing. Girl child must be employed in our parliaments. Girl child must be given, opportunities to participate in our governments as men are doing. So I'm achieving gender equality. So you can realize that in achieving any of these goals, that is a cross-cutting goal, you will realize that at the end of the day, you are achieving more of that when you are acting on only one of these. Now, if it says you are acting on no poverty, so how can you end poverty? It means you have to provide people with education that can help them to earn a living. It means you have to provide them with work that can help them to also earn a living, to generate income. It means you have to provide them with good health and well-being. It means you have to provide them with affordable and clean energy. So I'm now achieving many goals as I'm only acting on no poverty. So that is why I says these are cross-cutting goals. But all these goals can never be achieved without the enabling goals, okay? The prioritized goals can never be achieved. The cross-cutting goals can never be achieved without the enabling goals. These are called enablers because they give the forum, they give the enabling environment for all other goals to be achieved. Like let's say life on land, okay? All of us should have the right to live or to be able to live on the land. That is why we build our infrastructure. That is why we build our houses. So this is an enabler, and then people must be given the opportunity to live on this land in order to achieve the other goals. If there is life on land, then meaning our living organisms living in the soil will be free from impacts, human activities. They will be free from problems. Okay, if there is life on land, meaning I have the accessibility to all a land. I have the accessibility to build my house on a land. I have the accessibility to plant a tree on the land. I have the accessibility to conduct, my trainings on the land and so on. Okay, so this is an enabler. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Without peace, forget it. Nothing can be achieved without peace. Okay, so that is why peace is also a second enabling goal. We must have peace in our various communities, in our various societies, in order to be able to achieve all other goals. So that is why we have these enabling goals as life on land, peace, justice, and strong institution, partnership for the goals, reduce inequalities, climate action, life below water. So those are the enablers. You have the cross-cutting goals and then the prioritized goals. Without the enabling goals, all the others cannot be achieved. With the cross-cutting goals, you can achieve more of the goals. And then the prioritized goals, one must act on them. So this is how the this is how the 17 development goals are being categorized based on prioritized, based on cross-cutting or integration and also enabling. So we can move to the next slides. Next slides. Okay. So we have facts and figures of our world today, the world that we are living today. I just pick some few goals that I want to give facts and figures about our present world, and then we could move to the next agenda. So that is goal number one here. That is no poverty. Goal number one is no poverty. Now, globally, the number of people living in extreme poverty has declined from 36% in 1990 to 10% in 2015. Why was this possible? Because of the Millennium Development Goals. Okay, the Millennium Development Goals were able to draw the number of poverty from 36% to 10% in just a period of 15 years. So the SDGs are here now. That is the global goals. So what can we achieve in the next 10 years from now? But the space for change is decelerating. Okay, projections suggest that 6% of the world population will still be living in extreme poverty in 2030 if current trends continue. And in fact, there is more threats on this. There is more threats on this. I can say this number might even be reduced now with the impact of the COVID-19 and also the lockdown and then the lockdown and then state of emergency situations. So this number might even change. So we can move to the next slides. This is zero hunger, that is goal number 2. Despite earlier extent of progress, despite earlier extended progress, the number of people suffering from hunger has been one of the rise for the third consecutive year. An estimated of 821 million people were undernourished in 2017, up from 784 million in 2015. The proportion of stunted children has been declining since 2000, but 22% of children under the age of 5 were still chronically undernourished in 2018. So we have seen that the number was decreased also by the Millennium Development Goals, but it also get to rise at some point. And then we are expecting to draw this number to a limited number, to a smaller number by 2030. And there is no time. Time is not on our side anymore. So we have to act fast and then act quick. Next. That is goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. So our economic growth in least developed countries, example in the Gambia, or in some countries in Africa and also in Asia, is again on the uprising, with real GDP growth expected to climb to 5.7% in 2020, but still falling short of 7% target. Underemployment is back to pre-financial crisis level, and labor productivity has been increasing worldwide, with consistently positive annual growth rates since 2010. But wide disparities can be found among regions, especially in recent times. So we have seen that recently about 20 million people have lost their jobs, according to BBC report, last week, due to the impact of the COVID-19. So this number is going to add up to this figure. And then where are we heading to? These are questions that we need to be asking ourselves as young people and as the leaders of the future generation. So we have to act now. Next slide. And the last that I will give on the facts and figures of our world is partnership for the goals. That is goal number 17. Despite the pledges to boost development financing aid levels are failing. Net official development assistance to total 149 billion in 2018. From migrant workers abroad are becoming the largest source of external financing in developing countries. Effective mobilization of domestic resources, including through taxation, is critical to achieve the SDGs. Now, here I want to talk about the accessibility to finance in our various communities and in our various regions, to civil society organizations, to individuals. We can realize that national resources are not fairly distributed. Financial natural resources are not fairly distributed. And then civil society organizations are struggling with finances. They are struggling to get finance in order to carry out their activities. Civil society organizations, NGOs, and other youth organizations are really fighting every day to change the status quo of our people, our vulnerable people in our societies. But the key obstacle is access to finance. Now, in recent days, results have provided that most finance remittance from, in the continent of Africa is coming from Africans settling in the diaspora through the transfer of Western Union and also other remitting financial sources. So it means that there is still more that is needed to be done in the area of partnership with our governments and then with our financial institutions. And I think all of us have to be raising our voice on this goal, so that leaders will remember that we don't forget the promise that they have given us in 2015, and then they will take it into a whole. Next. Means of implementation. So I just want to give a short description on the means of implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. The scale and ambition of the new agenda requires a vitalized global partnership to ensure its implementation. This I have been saying over and over again. It needs our global partnership. All of us have to come together to give support to one another in order to achieve the SDGs. And that is what exactly this statement is saying. The scale and ambition of the new agenda requires a revitalized global partnership to ensure its implementation. This partnership will work in a spirit of global solidarity, in particular, solidarity with the poorest and with the people in vulnerable situations. It will facilitate an intensive global engagement in the support of implementation of all global goals targets, bringing together governments and private sector, civil society, and the United Nations systems, and other actors, and mobilizing all available resources. We recognize that each country has primary responsibility for its own economic and social development. The new agenda deals with the means required for implementation of the goals and targets, we recognize that this will include the mobilization of financial resources as well as capacity building and transfer of environmentally sound technologies to developing countries and on favorable terms, including on consensual and preferential terms and as mutually agreed. Public finance, both domestic and international, will play a vital role in providing essential service and public goals and in the catalyzing other sources of financing. We acknowledge the role of the diverse private sector ranging from micro enterprises and cooperatives to multinationals, and that of the civil society organizations and philanthropic organizations in the implementation of the new agenda. So that is the means of implementation. We can go to the next slide as time is not on our side anymore. Why did the SDGs matter? This is a question that I asked myself in the first place when I was engaging with the SDGs. So the SDGs matters because they are sustainable development goals which provide a blueprint to the transition of a healthier planet and a more just world for present and future generations. With concrete targets, the goals aim to end poverty and hunger, expand access to health, education, justice, and job, promotes inclusive and sustainable economic growth while protecting our planet from environmental degradation. This is why the SDGs matters. That is number one. And the second point is they will also resolve problems such as conflict, climate change, lack of access to essential health services, growing inequalities, and significant financial gaps have limited the impact of global efforts. The people left behind continue to suffer the most, including the loss of small islands, developing states, least developed countries, and landlocked developing countries. So this is why the SDGs matters. Next. So we have a short video here that I will want to share with you as part of my conclusion remarks. Sister Heba, can you play that video?
I guess you have to send it to me,
Wow.
like the other one. Yeah.
Okay. I will do that shortly. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Mr.
So
Ebrima.
I'll continue. Yeah, I'll continue on the next slides. So when the video is ready, Sister Heba can continue to play it for us.
All right.
It is loading right now, so you can continue with the next slides.
Can you see it now?
Okay. So let me just give a short concluding remarks. Okay. I'll just want to give a short note on the concluding remark. So when the video is ready, so you can play it for the benefit of the audience. So the Sustainable Development Goals are pretty big to do, at least, don't you think? In fact, sorry, I have some technical issue. Okay, there we go. In fact, it is so big, you may just want to throw them back. You may just want to throw your hands up in the air, forget it. Like, it is not possible. One may just says, it is not possible, forget it, okay? But yes, it is possible. We can do it. But we have got a lot going on for us. The world is more interconnected today than ever before, thanks to the internet, travel, and global institutions. There is a growing consensus about the need to work together to stop climate change. And the Sustainable Development Goals are no small matter either. The 193 countries agreed on these goals, pretty incredible, isn't it? The 193 countries agreeing on anything. This must be a big thing. The final goal lays out a way for, finally, the global goals lays out a way for nations to work together to achieve all the other goals. So I want to guess the video should be ready now, and we could benefit from it. Yes, the video should be ready, sister. Do you see it?
Yes, yes, I'm working on it now.
Okay, okay.
We are
Okay. It is playing. I can hear it on
only
the.
children.
I'm just downloading it.
We are only children, trying to make.
Is it ready?
Not yet. Just a moment, please.
So while Miss Heber is still working on the video, very soon we're going to be getting into the question and answer segment once our dear presenter, Mr. Ebrima, is done presenting. So hopefully everybody can be ready with their questions, whatever you want to contribute on, whatever you might want to ask Mr. Jarra to clarify pertaining what he has been presenting on, or pertaining issues that are within your own community, what you're currently engaged in, your work, and how we can all help each other in terms of building partnerships, like you are saying is one of the cross-cutting goals. So hopefully you can be prepared in the next few minutes so that we can open the platform for everybody to be able to contribute. Thank you.
So. Thank you, Leroy. I think I'll be very happy to receive questions. You know, as a former teacher, I think I've been answering a lot of questions in the classrooms and also outside the classroom. So it will equally be a pleasure to answer questions here on this platform.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try to
well,
share the screen now.
okay.
Okay.
Are we ready, Miss Heba?
Almost, I hope. I don't know what is wrong.
Okay. So since while Miss Heba is still working on this, I think we can start with the question and answer. What do you think, Mr. Ebrima?
Yes, yes. It will be my pleasure.
All right. So if you intend to ask a question, like I said earlier on, just put up your hand and Mr. Ebrima will refer to you. Thank you.
Already I see 2 hands up. I'm trying to review if I can see more hands up, because I am expecting a lot of questions, because this is United goals that we are talking about, the United Nations Development Goals, which are dealing with all of us here and also dealing with all of us, our environments and then our societies. So I should be expecting a lot of questions from the audience or from the participants. So I want to hear more and more questions. Only 2 questions are not satisfactory to me. I want more questions, please, audience. Ask more questions. Okay. Third question is. So can we start taking the questions now?
Yes,
So
I
let's,
think you can start. You can start responding to the
okay,
questions that are already there, while other
okay,
people still think of questions that they can come up with.
okay. So let's start with Nur
Yeah.
Haswan. Nur Haswan, you are welcome to the platform, and also feel free to ask your question and help us to understand your question, and then we'll be very glad to answer or respond to your question. Welcome, sister.
Thank you. I wanna ask a question about the fourth girl, which is quality of the education. I think education in general, for example, if we see in our world that we can't have the good quality education, all of us as a people. I think that all of us as a people want the high education as a people all equal, the same equality. But in the world, I see that, for example, I see that the obstacle is that I see that money is important. I see that rich countries have the good education, but the poor countries, for example, in my country, in Yemen, we have a very low education and a very bad quality. In Arab countries, for example, the highest education is in Qatar, which is one of the richest countries. If we talk about the world, we have Finland, America, Canada, that are rich countries. So how, as a people, we can get and achieve this fourth goal so that all people uh, can get their education in high quality. Not just the rich people or rich countries can get it, but the poor countries that we can't get it. I see that maybe it's obstacle for us to get this high equality. So how we can achieve this goal so that all people get it? And thanks for listening to my questions.
Thank you so much for that very important and very wonderful question regarding the quality of education and how um, vulnerable people or poor people could access it. Also, middle class economics or third class economics can also access quality education. It is indeed unfair that some parts of the world are receiving more quality education than some parts of the world. And I think we are all equal. We are all the same human beings created by the same Almighty God. And then, here to serve the Almighty. And I think our actions should be very important regarding how we interact and then deal with each other. So how to solve the problem of quality education is very important. And I think you as an example or as an individual, as Nurba Haswan, you know that the system of education in your country is not very good. It's not to your expectation as you want it. So what can you do is you can be an action ambassador today. You can be an actor on that goal. You can write your proposals. There are a lot of philanthropic organizations that are supporting institutions or civil society organizations regarding education. You can write your proposal to these institutions requesting for funds, and then if your proposal meet the requirement, so they could give you the fund to implement your plan as you wrote it on your proposal, or as you want it as an individual who want to contribute to the development of your country. Now, I give you a tip of or an example of how I think the educational system in the Gambia could be resolved, where the poor people could also be able to afford education, where the vulnerable people, the unfortunate Kirlens, could also be able to afford education. Now, I was with the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in Lusaka, Zambia in 2017, and then I was a teacher before. I was a professional teacher before, and then we had a conversation at a length where I said, I think, what if you and your government can make a deal or a case to say that everybody who is under the government pay scale, because every government is having a pay scale, okay? So there is an average pay scale. What if you says that everybody who is being employed by the government of the Gambia, who is receiving a government pay scale of certain grade, will contribute a $2 or $3 saving it as the support to the unfortunate Kirlan's education. where that money will be accumulated and then used to sponsor the education of the unfortunate children, where that money could be used to sponsor the education of the poor and then the weak children, where that money could be used to open schools for the orphans, where that money could be used to spend to improve the educational facilities and institutions in our country. So this was a conversation that I was having with her, and of course she recommended that it is a very good strategy, and then they are going to take a step towards it. So I think these are some of the ways that we can really distribute and fairly distribute the resources in order to help everybody to be included in the circle of quality education. So I hope your question is answered. Sister Nurba Paswan. Then if your question is answered, so we could move to the next question here, who is Mohammed or Ahmad Mahdi. Ahmad Mahdi, if you are on the line, could you unmute yourself and then come up with your question? In the first place, Noor, I think your question is answered.
Thanks. Yes, it's answered.
Thank you. Thank you. Ahmed, can you go ahead with your question?
Greetings, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Jarra, for this amazing presentation. I'd like to thank you so much. Thank you for this presentation. And also I'd like to thank my dear friend, Heba Asim, for this great initiative. Thank you so much, Heba. I have two questions. The first question is about achieving sustainable development goals in Africa. So, do you think we can achieve sustainable development in African nations, starting from us as ambitious youth like us? So, do you think we can achieve these goals, starting from us in this chat, in this group chat? Can we do something in order to achieve sustainable development goals, in order to achieve the agenda of 2063 of Africa? So, do you think we can achieve sustainable development goals? And the second question I'd like to ask you about the education. I think I noticed through your accent that your native language is French, right, Mr. Jarra?
No, our official language here is English.
What? What?
English.
Your native language is English or French?
No, my native language is Wolof, Mandinka, and some other local languages. But we learn English at school. English is our official language.
Okay, that's because I think your native language is English, because I'm saying your English look like the pronunciation of French. So I'd like to have some advices from you to me and to the other youth in this chat on how we can improve our accent, how we can improve English as a second language. If it's not our native language, how we can improve it, how we can speak English fluently as a second language. Thank you so much, Mr. Jarra. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Ahmed, for those two important questions. So I will want to act quickly on the two questions. The first question you asked is, how do I think whether we can achieve the SDGs as a continent, that is Africa? Of course, I have a very big optimism around the Sustainable Development Goals in Africa that we can achieve it. In recent days, I see a lot of energetic young African people who can really make a difference to the future of Africa. And also I see a lot of young people in Africa who, if they understand more and have little support of what they are doing, could be able to help us achieve a lot of development and advancement in our various societies. So I think that there is a potential to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, looking at the availability of our natural resources, looking at the availability of our intelligence, that is the potentials that we have in our young people. Africa is having about, almost every country in Africa is about 60%, young population. So I think there is a big potential for us achieving the SDGs. The only problem is in Africa is we don't want to partner at some point. We don't want integration. And in this platform here, I call for a more integration, a more continental action in order to achieve the global goals, because these goals are global, they are integrated, and then they can never be achieved if we don't come together as a united front to face these goals. The problem of Africa is a long-rooted problem. It started since the era of the 1853 to the 1854. That is at the Berlin Conference, when we were just petitioned by drawing mayor lines within the continent of Africa. So then that is when Africans begin to think that me in the Gambia here, Ebrima in the Gambia here, is different with Ahmed, who is in the other part of Africa. That is when I begin to think that me as Ebrima in the Gambia here, I'm totally different with someone in Senegal. That is not the reality. The original history of Africa is Africa has been living as empires. We have the Mali Empire, the Ghana Empire, the Cabo Empire, and you name it. A lot of empires in Africa before. That is about 400 years ago or 500 years ago. So if we, the young people of Africa, can come together to share expertise, to share our resources, we could be able to achieve the SDG faster than any other continent in the world. In fact, our voice could be heard louder than any other, voice in the world. In Asia, I see it in Asia. In the summit that I attended, the global goal, that was early 2020, in January 2020 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. That was an event organized by Student International. Student International comprises of students all around the continent of Asia. And then they have partnership with big organizations like the Sonwe Putra Sonwe Putra Enterprise in Malaysia. They have big partnership with big hotels and then big places where they can organize their events for free. They have big support from the UN Habitat, from their governments. So as far as we are able to come together, then governments must listen to us. Governments is a must. If we are able to come together as a united front, it is a force that every government and every organization will listen to us, and then that will give us the opportunity to help us to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, in the near future, before even we are out of the youthful age. I said, yes, there is a lot of potential for Africa to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And then I said, yes, again, there is a lot of potential for Africa to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So the next question is how we can improve our language. That is the speaking English as a second language if you are from a French country. Yes, I think here, we have to go back to, the teaching mechanisms and then the teaching strategies. So in order to improve your language, you have to be responsible yourself to be able to at least learn a word a day. Every day, at least learn a word. Every day, at least learn a word, or at least 2, or at least 3, or at maximum, you can learn at least 5 words. Every day you learn 5 words, know their meaning, know what they stand for, and then know how to use them in a sentence. This is also helpful. You can also look for a teacher who can help you in improving your English language. And of course, I give you this promise that if you have a good teacher who is well strategic in teaching, could help you learn the English language in just 3 to 4 months or to 6 months. And of course, there are also courses that are available online to teach you on how to improve your language or your English language, on YouTube and also other internet platforms. So I hope that your 2 questions are answered? And if so, then we move to the next question here, who is Huzafo Dokaji. If you are hearing me, the platform is open, and then you can lay your question, and then of course it will be fairly treated. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and I would like to congratulate you for a wonderful presentation. I am impressed, and I listened so much, and I learned a lot from it, and I must congratulate you once again. Well, my question has actually been asked and part of it answered, although I seek an answer within a different perspective. But before I ask my question, I want to make a comment on an insinuation made that that traces the African problem to the Berlin Conference of 1886, in which complex or the modern nationhood evolved, where Europeans, without consulting Africans, without consideration for the political, sociological, and historical structure of African society, constructed nation state. It's true, the Berlin Conference complicated African social and political settings, but that problem didn't start with the Berlin Conference. It was actually, when you are talking about empire creation, you are talking about someone incorporating societies that aren't originally part of his own to develop an empire. The Songhai Empire, the Kanim-Borno Empire, all incorporated societies that are historically different and socially not the same with them. So I would say Berlin Conference rather complicated this by integrating Africa, because it exposed Africa and integrated African societies into a complex web of, global capitalist system, which had no consideration for the traditional structures of Africa. Well, regarding my question is regarding your optimism on the SDGs. You sound so optimistic that they are going to work. So far, the achievements of the SDGs are statistics we largely read on paper but don't see in action in many African societies. Education, it will be argued that education there's an expansion in the broad scope of achievements in education, but then Africans are still largely uneducated. On the issue of food, for example, I'm from Nigeria. In my country, poverty has been rising at least in the last decade. About 80% of Nigerians live below $1 per day. There are no medicine in the hospital. My state has the largest population in Nigeria, and our general hospital is assumed to be the busiest hospital in West Africa. But a few months ago, before I relocated to the US, I went to the hospital, and the hospital had only one functioning oxygen cylinder. And about 20 people were there needing that oxygen. So they put the oxygen on one person, he will inhale, and when our other person is about to fall, they'll quickly grab him and put the mask on him. Where are the foreign and local investment in that? And my friend, who was a doctor at the hospital, was telling me that when you have a heart attack and you are taken to that specialist general hospital, arguably the busiest in West Africa, that hospital was established in 1926, that you are going to die because they don't have, what do they call it, a defibrillator? They don't have it. They have to give manual CPR. But you sound so optimistic. In 2009, Gambian or Kenyan economist Dambisa Moyo, she wrote an article, Dead Aid, in the Wall Street Journal in 2009. And she said that she visited Kibera, a slum in Kenya, arguably the largest slum in Africa. And she said that it was the worst slum in Africa. But then just few yards away from that slum was the United Nations Agency for Human Settlements or something like that. They are busy investing money in Ghana, maybe in Nigeria, but just behind their headquarters is the largest slum in Africa, and they have no single project in that slum. Don't you think international politics, political considerations, a local non-commitment inside of rulers, and lack of, sustainable patriotism in the hand of on the side of the activists make this a very difficult project? Because these activists, some of them are invited to join the government, and then a few years later, they are just rich and they're no longer activists. But you still sound so optimistic, and you think this could be achieved in 2030. In my opinion, the way things are going, I don't think any of those goals will be achieved by 2030.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, it's somehow funny that a whole a hospital could have only one oxygen bottle, and then they have to rush to share it with the patients. Yes, I sound so optimistic because I think there is an opportunity and then there is a potential. And the evidence to this optimism is because of partnership. If the young people of Africa are able to come together to partner in this regard. I give you a little example of myself. When I started my NGO, that was immediately when I returned from the Microsoft conference in Lusaka, Zambia. I came and then began to start this organization working on registering an organization that is basically going to be acting on the goals that I'm more passionate about, and then that is the Soil Solution Gambia. So it was definitely tough, and then I have to spend my own resources in getting the NGO registered and legalized in the Gambia. But after 1 year or 2 years of operation, the government realized that even without their influence, I'm doing my things. So they have to come and then call me to their attention and then said, how can you help us to establish a Gambia National Soil Partnership, where we will have the intertechnical panels of all these government experts come together to share their knowledge and then expertise in regards to climate change mitigation and adaptation, in regards to sustainable soil management. So this is when we begin the conversation and then begin the partnership and then the collaboration. And then, of course, in 2019, around the tail end of 2019, in November, we had this Gambia National Soil Partnership instituted. So a lot has been done on it. A lot has been done, and then a lot of resources has been invested in that aspect or that sector now. And then a lot of expectations are also on the timeline. So this is why I said there is a potential. Now, I'm saying there is a potential, and I'm very optimistic because of this, that if every young person in Africa, if all of us on this platform leave this platform with the idea and then with the goal that I'm going home and then I'm going to do this, okay, I'm going home and then I'm going to end poverty in my society. I'm going home and then I'm going to make sure that there is no hunger in my society. I'm going home and then I'll make sure that there is climate change mitigation and adaptation, or there is a stop to the collection of firewood in my community. My friend, you will see a change in this arena. I don't want us to sit back, fold our hands, and then wait on these leaders, because I don't trust in the leadership that we have in Africa. Okay, we should not be dependent on any foreign aid. We should not be dependent on any international donor. We should not be taking any loan from IMF or World Bank. We have the natural resources in our countries. We have the potentials in our countries, but we cannot utilize them. In fact, we utilize them in the benefit of the foreigners. These multinationals who come here claiming to help us while they are looting us. So our leaders don't understand the system, and then we, the young people who are fortunate to have these informations, to have this knowledge, have to stand for ourselves and then make sure that we exonerate our people and emancipate our people from these problems. And then that is why I'm saying there is a possibility. I'm saying that there is a possibility because if all of us here leave this gathering with the aim that we are going home, I'm going home and then I'm going to end this. I'm going home and I'm going to achieve this. I'm going home and I'm going to make sure that this and this and this happen and this and this and this don't happen. Then there is a change in the near future. So this is why I'm very optimistic. I hope you understand me on that area, on that aspect. And I'm very optimistic because really I've seen a potential in Africa. I said it before that Recently, I've seen a lot of young people in Africa rising, really, who are very just amazing. They understand all what they do, and they just need little support to make sure that there is a change in the continent. And of course, I hope that
Sorry.
with the near future, there'll be a change.
Sorry to interject. Sorry, Mr. Jarra. I think we're almost running out of time now. I think maybe you can just look at a couple of questions in the that have been posted in the inbox, in the chat, and then as you answer those, you just wrap up so that we can allow everybody to go back and have some rest.
Okay, so if that is the case, then I'll comply. But I think also people who are raising their hands want to be addressed to, and they want to be here to listen to what is going to be responded to their questions. So if they could understand, if they want it that way, then we have to give them the opportunity.
All right. Okay, that's fine. So I think address the questions.
Myself, I have to
address the
travel
questions in the
3
chat.
kilometers to go to the to go to my home actually. So I think
Okay.
so,
Okay. So if you can address the questions in the chat, and then maybe if we still have a few minutes, we can come back to the raised hands.
Okay, thank you. So let's go quickly to the chat box. I saw a question from Zahu Y Duyan from Liberia. His or her question is why education minister is the owner of the schools. This is affecting the SDGs in the education sector. So that is really very incorrect. As an education minister, you are there to serve the people. You are there as a servant. You are the lead servant in the educational sector. And then we don't expect you to be owning schools to make profit. We expect you to be delivering what you are being expected. Why the purpose of you being put into that position. That is why we expect you to deliver. So if an education minister is owning a school, I think that is the school have to really obey the rules and regulations of the country and then delivering the potentials that the country need. Otherwise, that school should be closed. It should not be existing in that school. Of course, it is very true that many of our politicians and also our cabinet ministers are owning schools in the country for profit. They are not owning schools to deliver the potential that our educational sector needs, but in fact, they own schools to make profit. And that is very wrong to think that you can make profit from education and from school that is being attended by poor and unfortunate Kirlians. So is there any other question again? So I think that is the question that we have on the chat box, Mr. Leroy.
Okay, so Mr. Durian was the one who had asked the question in the chat box, right?
Yes, Mr. Zafu, why Duyan?
Okay. Is that the same?
Ebrima, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Excuse me, I want to say that the video is ready if you want to play it, and then wrap up and take a picture as a memory of this great event. So would you allow me, please?
Yes, certainly.
So I just want to take this last question from Mutar.
Okay.
Mutar Rambirwa, if you are hearing me, could you lay your question so it will be addressed before we move into that?
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Thank you. Welcome to the
Thank
platform.
you for
you
your.
are free to ask your question.
Okay, thank you for your rich presentation. I'm Dorian from Burundi. Okay, I have a question. You say every country is sovereign in implementing the goals. So my question is, since every country is sovereign, what the procedures to be taken in case that country fail? Because it fail to implement those goals, because those goals have to be implemented globally. So what if that country fails? Another question, so the second and the last question is how to fight against inequality which is the case in many countries, as it is a very big challenge that is faced even with some countries that are economically good and that are industrialized. So it means that those countries failed, and they are economically good or strong and they are industrialized, but still is some rates of inequality. So how to fight against this case? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I will quickly add on that. The first question is, what if a country fail in achieving the SDGs, which are globally to be implemented? Yes, so these global goals that are globally to be implemented doesn't mean that the whole world have to be acting on them together. Okay, like we don't have to, Gambia does not have to have the same plan with Senegal and then Liberia and other countries. So each country have a ministry that is responsible for supporting these sustainable development goals. Like example today, if you are acting on gender equality, you have a ministry that you belongs to. Maybe that could be the Ministry of Women's or Ministry of, gender or any ministry. Okay, if you are an actor on the human right, then you could be under the Ministry of Justice. Okay, if you are an actor on education, quality education, then you could be under the Ministry of Education. So those ministries, those inline ministries have to support your plan, and those ministries have to also strive in achieving the SDGs that are related to their institutions. Okay, so this is how the plan, that is the UN Sustainable Development Goal, is implemented. Each of these ministries have the responsibility to implement the goals that are related to their ministries. And each of these youth organization or civil society organization should be supported by the inline ministry that you belongs to, okay? Like example, for me, I belongs to the Ministry of Agriculture and that of the Environment in the Gambia, so I expect their support anytime I need it. Okay, anytime I need their support, I go to the minister's office, I says, this is what I need, this is what I need, or I write a letter to the office, or I write a proposal to the office to lay my request or what I need from them to give me that support. So I expect the support to come, otherwise I expect them to answer the questions of why they didn't support that agenda. So this is how the global goals are implemented. And then you also mentioned about how to stop the inequalities within our societies. I think here, this has to do a lot with policies. We need to better the policies that are being formulated in our parliaments and also that are being implemented by our judiciaries and also us as individuals. We all are key players in this. It starts from you yourself, you as a person. It starts from you. If you are somebody who said, I will not violate the right of this person because he or she is a male or a female, or he or she is a poor or a rich, then it continues to the next person. And then somebody might learn from you and then do the same as you do. So therefore, inequality will equally be moving out in our societies. So I think inequalities have no opportunities in our society. There is no space for inequalities in our society, whether rule or be ruled. There is no space for inequalities. We are all equally important as human beings. We are all equally important as citizens of the world, and then we are all equally important as as nature, as beings created by the same supreme God. So there is no inequality. There is no space for inequality in our world, and then we should all be fighters to end this inequality in all its forms. So that is what I have to say in regards to your questions. And I think we are definitely behind schedule, and then Sister Heba could help us play the last video from very amazing kids that have a very nice song to share with us here.
So can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can. Could you increase the volume? Volume, please, volume.
This is the utmost. I'm so sorry.
Wow. I don't know if the others can hear it, but I cannot hear anything. Um, it's
Yeah,
okay. I
there's no
think,
volume coming through right now.
yes. So I think there is problems with maybe network or some technical problems. Otherwise, the
Yeah.
video is a very inspiring one from kids.
Alright. I think what we can do is we can have if it's too big, we can have the link if it's available on YouTube or any other platform, or we can have the whole video. We can send the video to each and every participant, because I think the issue is the video is so much high quality that it cannot render at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we might have a link to if
Yes,
it's
we can
available on
send it
YouTube.
via email
Yeah.
Yes.
with the
Okay.
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, exactly. So, Mr. Ebrima,
Mhm.
just a closing remarks
Hello.
Yeah. Just closing remarks, Mr. Ebrima, as we wrap up.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my experience and also knowledge with fellow comrades and also fellow friends and brothers and sisters from around the continent and also from around the world. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here on this conversation, and I hope that the message that was intended is delivered fairly. If not, then you could learn from the follow-up presentation that will be shared to you all from the guidance of Afro-Arab Leadership Initiative, from these amazing people from Heba and Mr. Leroy and also Nuran. So I definitely can't thank you enough for this opportunity. It is definitely a challenge for me to put a decade of action into a single talk, but I hope to do better next time. And I hope also to be able to share and then integrate with more of more with all of you here on this platform. I'm always available to everybody. This is my agenda, which I'm very passionate about, and I think that we cannot do this agenda alone, and we need the collaboration and the integration and the sharing of everybody. So I thank you all for coming up to this platform and also supporting this platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebrima. That was wonderful. I think we can all give a virtual round of applause for such a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to everybody that has attended. You're all loved, you're all appreciated. Without you guys, the whole thing would not have happened. We thank you very much. And most importantly, we'd like to thank Mr. Mana with Africa-Asia Youth Foundation, Yemen. Although he would not, I didn't want to say it like to give a closing remark or say anything, but we'd like to really thank you, sir, for working with us in partnership in order to bring this whole 2-day event together, which started yesterday. Actually, it was a session yesterday for Arabic speakers, and then on to today. It's been a great pleasure working with you, sir. Hopefully, we can do this more often. I also want to thank the founder of uh, Guardians of Afro-Arab Leadership, Heba, who was also helping us with the technical side of moving the presentation and everything. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the vision and kickstarting this whole thing. I hope everybody has sent in their email so that we can send you the presentations from yesterday and today. Also, so that you can also be in the database for future events, whether you would like to participate as a speaker too, or as a participant to learn from others. Please also like on Facebook, Guidance of Afro-Arab Leadership Facebook page, also on LinkedIn for more events and upcoming programs. Thank you very much. It's Lira Masawi from Zimbabwe. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.